All right, yeah. So, happy Mother's Day. So glad you guys are here and want to welcome you. This morning, I know it sounds weird being Mother's Day, but I want to talk about lame excuses. Lame excuses. Now, I don't know about you guys. I was going to have you look to somebody to your right or left and say, you got to get rid of your lame excuses, but I won't because no one wants to talk to anybody. When we do the handshake, nobody likes it. But I have a few lame excuses. I'm going to confess one of those, okay? Any of you that know me. I am more than likely probably not going to text you back, and if you call me, I'm not going to answer the call, okay? Now, I know that sounds rude, and in my line of work I should do that, but I did a quick calculation just a few weeks ago, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to see how many messages and how many phone calls I receive starting at 6 in the morning that day, it was on Tuesday, until I leave here at 4:30, okay? I had, no lie, 23 calls, and I had over 70 messages. So in my mind, I just did a quick little math check, and I was like, if I just do 5 minutes per call and text message, that's over 8 hours. I can't do it. Now, I try to explain that to my wife, but she doesn't care, because she says, listen, I know you can't answer all the messages, just answer mine, right? Fair enough. I get it. I should, because I sleep with her. But a friend of mine, Cassie, their kid was on this, Cassie and Matt, the other day, it's been like a week ago, we're in a meeting, and she said, she was on Instagram or something, and a meme came up, and it said, you win $1 million. One person, you text or call, and they're not going to reply back. You win $1 million. Who is it? And she said, I looked at it and said, Trent. And she said, I literally went to my husband, Matt, and just said, look at it. And before, he just glanced, and he said, Trent, we'd be millionaires, okay? So, but lame excuse, right? Some of you are like, yeah, we're all busy. I get 1 million calls too. Still got to answer them. Lame excuse. I want to talk about our lame excuses today. I also want you to kind of think about this. I pulled this from the Cross Kids since it's Mother's Day. This old kind of worn out mat, because sometimes we'll find that our mats are where we hold our lame excuses. So what I want to do this morning, we're going to be in the book of John, chapter 5, and I'm just going to read a few verses. I'm going to read the first two first. It says, afterwards, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days. Inside the city near the sheep gate was the pool of Bethesda with 5 covered porches. Now, did you notice that? It was a holiday time. So the Jewish culture had major holidays, much like the Americans, us in America. Watching online if you're not in America. For us in America, we have multiple major holidays. Interesting fact, I looked it up this week. Do you know the top 4 major holidays in America? Anyone want to guess? In order even? Anyone guess? Number 1? Easy. Number 2? Yeah, at 9:30, try to be religious, like Easter. It's not Easter. Thanksgiving, right? What's number 3? No, it's Easter. No, you're wrong. Number 4, Mother's Day. So think about that for a second. It goes Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, Mother's Day. Anyone know the bottom 4? I'll tell you. And I'm going to go in order to the very last one, starting at the top down. Fourth to last is actually Halloween. Then the next one is St. Patrick's Day. Very next to last is Father's Day. And then the last one's Arbor Day. Now, can I say this for a second? Do you guys realize the trend here? This is how important you women are in our lives. When we think of the 4 major holidays, we pick Jesus twice, the best meal you've ever had in your life, and you moms. When we think of the 4 we don't really care about, we say leprechauns, ghosts, trees, and dads. Look it up. I mean, that's all factual, right? So this is a holy day. So this is a holiday, and this place, Bethesda, is literally called, translated, it was a place of mercy. But it was anything but that. Because what happened is all these people who were struggling with infirmities, illness, paralyzed, blind, sick, whatever they had that were outcasts of society, they went to these 5 kind of covered porches and sat around this body of water. We're going to see why in just a second. And this body of water, so a place that should mean the place of mercy was actually the place of misery. What we're going to see today, and I'm hoping I can help all of you in this room and watching online, is how do we get rid of our lame excuses? Lame excuses. There's 3 things that I think build into our lame excuses. And before we get started, I'm going to help you today. You can tone out after this and start texting, because I know what you're doing. You're texting your wife you think Red Lobster if we plan right? I get you're doing your meal thing. But just so you know, there are 3 P's that keep you stuck. They are. There are literally 3 P's that are going to keep you stuck waiting. It's when we wait on perfect. Oh, when we just get to this kind of perfect moment, that's when I'll make my move. We wait on perfect. We wait on people. and we wait on pain-free moments. Most of us stay stuck because we keep thinking, no, it's just not the right time. It's not the right time. When the right time comes, I'll do it. Or we're like, I just need people to kind of come along. I'd start my business, but I don't have anyone who will support me financially. I need people. Or it's finally, you know what, that seems kind of tough. I'm not going to do it now because it might be hard. So I'm going to literally wait. What are the lame? Real quick, number one, the lame race. Lame race. What's lame stand for in the race? Look at me, everyone. Anyone notice this? Look at me, everyone. This is when we're stuck waiting on that perfect moment. Verse 3, it says, crowds of sick people, blind, lame, or paralyzed, lay on the porches. And this verse 4, this is interesting. This isn't in a lot of translations because it was, people didn't even know. They're like, it's not in a lot of the older manuscripts. So they kind of back and forth, should they put it in there? And the reason they debate on it, there was kind of basically a legend. No one even knows if it really was true, but there was a legend in this pool of water that every now and then an angel would come randomly. And if he came, the angel would stir the water. And when the water kind of moved, the first person who got in the water would become healed. That was their legend. That's why it's not in a lot of different translations. So these people are waiting on this legend, right? And it's a zero-sum game. What do I mean by that? It means only one person can get in. Did you catch that? Whoever was first. Sound like modern day United States for us, right? Sound like social media? Whoever is top, whoever's the best, they get what they want. Everyone else loses. It's called a zero-sum game. It means for me to win, everyone around me has to basically lose. That's how this was set up. There's this imaginary line. I was thinking about if there was social media back then, I think it would be interesting. I think there would be two groups. There's the Facebook group. Facebook moms don't get mad at me. But Facebook, to me, on social media is pretty dark a lot. Kind of negative. People complain a lot. Not all the time. There's good stuff. But as a whole, it's just people getting on there. I think you'd have your negative Facebook people. They'd literally be like, well, I mean, I've been here for 12 days and no one's helped me, right? Or my favorite would be this. Got a lot of stuff. You take a picture by the pool. Got a lot of stuff going on. Don't really get into it. DM me, right? Because you know how that goes. Everyone's like, oh, girl, what's going on? I love when people post that online. Got a lot going on. Don't want to talk about it. Message me. And then you get a million comments. Tell me. And you know they're just eating it up. Oh, okay. I didn't want to talk about it. Like, come on, right? But Instagram's better. Instagram's more positive to me because it's so fake. I think that would be the best. You'd have a guy literally who's paralyzed. He'd just take upper body shots. Hashtag no leg day for me, like literally just flexing. You'd have a blind guy over there. You'd take a picture of his glasses on and like, he loves the sun. Like, whatever, right? It's so fake. Why? Because it's a look at me, everyone society. Now, I read this study. I found it fascinating. This happened a while back. But there's a guy by the name of Joshua Bell. And this is what I call the Joshua Bell experiment. Now, Joshua Bell is a prodigy. So he was a violinist, like legend. Like at 10, they're like, he's LeBron as a kid. He's going to be the best ever, musician ever. So what happened is he played at Carnegie Hall. The ticket price, guys, listen. The ticket price, the lowest price was over $1,000 for one seat. He sold the place out like 3 days in a row. And he just literally played. He has a Stradivarius violin that is estimated to be worth about $4 million. So he played to crowded rooms day in, day out. $100 was the cheapest seat, packed. And they decided to do something. They said, here's what I want you to do. Put on a Washington Nationals hat, a jacket, take your $4 million violin, and sit in the subway in D.C., and you're going to play for 45 minutes, and we're going to film everybody around you. They literally filmed for 45 minutes. You know what happened? So he just left Carnegie Hall playing for thousands at a $1,000 minimum ticket, and he plays, and they counted over, it was like 1,097 people passed by. 7 stopped. Many didn't even stop, but they just dropped in change because the guy's playing, he's asking for money. But 7 stopped. One of them they think knew who he was because he was smiling and he stayed the longest, like a few minutes. Everybody else, even when they stopped, would be like, he's good, and walk away. You know how much money he raised in his little hat? $37. So he played 3 days, literally in a row, thousands with the most expensive tickets, people wearing tuxedos. And you put him in a subway, and what happens? 7 people stop, $37. Why am I saying that? Because the crowd is a terrible place to discover your value. Can I say that again? The crowd is the worst place to ever discover your value. Think if you were Joshua Bell, you'd be like, I know you're a prodigy, I know you're the greatest probably to ever live, but look, 1,000 people, only 7 even stopped. Kind of stink, right? That's not where you get your value. Some of us here, because we live in this, look at me, look at me, look at me, everyone. And because of that, we think that's the validation, that's the value we have to have. These people are all sitting around waiting for the first person to be first, praying for a miracle. Look at me. It's a lame race. The second one, and I think most lame excuses come from lame environments. The lame environment is labeling. Literally, I'm going to label all my experiences. This is when we get stuck waiting on people. Look at verse 5. It says, one of the men lying there had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew he had been ill for a long time, he asked him, would you like to get well? I can't, sir, the sick man said, for I have no one to put me into the pool when the waters bubble up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me. Did you catch how sad that was? He's like, I want to, but I can't walk, and there's no one to help me. Did you catch that? That's what we do. He's like, I am the paralyzed, and this is true. He's paralyzed. He can't walk. But did you catch that? He's like, no, because of my state, I have to have someone has to come in and fix my situation, and nobody will. Jesus is like, do you want to get well? And he literally goes into this long excuse about his labels. You'll find in the story, he doesn't even have a name. He's just the paralyzed guy. He's the ill man. He's the invalid. It doesn't matter. He's not actually a person. Can I say this? Here's the problem for some of us. We label ourselves. Oh, you don't know Denise? Yeah, she's the divorced one. Actually been divorced a few times now I think about it, right? We do that. No, you're talking about the guy who was, he's an addict. No, he's not. I know he's struggling with this. He's not. Well, okay, whatever. Word do you see, right? Like we all think these different labels. Oh yeah, that's the weirdo. That's the guy no one wants to talk to. Like we have all these labels. He had a label that he thought owned him, literally. Now, I think this is the most valuable part of this whole message. It'll take just a minute. It can change your life, okay? One of the most valuable things all of you in this room or watching online can do is when you get just spiraling, right? Your brain's going all over the place. You need to stop just real quick and say, what's my perspective right now? Is it a good perspective? Now, I know some of you are like, that was not worth the price of admission. Well, it was free, so deal with it, okay? And you got treats. I like calling them treats now instead of snacks, whatever. No, but your perspective. Let me explain that. My wife and I, right after Easter, we left, went to Myrtle Beach. We took a van. We've taken this kind of cheap van we found, converted into a camper van. So we're staying. I don't know if it's legal. You can tell me. I don't care. We pull into hotel parking lots and just sleep there in the night and pretend like we're staying there. I know that's probably now I say it's illegal. But we call it the love machine. It's amazing. Anyways, yeah, shouldn't have said that part. It is. Great place. But we go spring break. And we go there, and it's awesome. Had a great time. We're there 3 days. My daughter played tennis in Virginia. We're coming back home. But we're not in a hurry because we're like leaving the night before. So as we're driving in North Carolina on 74 or whatever the new highway is, I'm making killer time, guys. I've got cruise set at like, I think it's 75 there. I'm going like 86 because you can't get a ticket if you're 11 over. Someone told me that. So I'm literally perfect timing. And about that time we get up to this hill and I look and there's just cars as far as I can see stopped. Oh. And I look at my wife and I'm like, get on Google. Like I'm trying to find stuff and she's like, oh my gosh, here we go. Because she knows I lose my mind when we get stopped in traffic. We're sitting in traffic. Here's the worst part. I'm sitting in traffic and I'm like, it's going to take an hour before we get out of this mess because there's a wreck up ahead. I don't care about the person. I'm a complete jerk. I just want to get through. Here's what's worse. As we're sitting there completely locked in, my wife's like, she's so nice. She's like, just calm down. It's okay. We don't even have to be anywhere tonight. I need to be home at my time that I already had in my head. Here's the worst part. We're stuck. As far as I can see traffic, there's cars the other way. Zoom, zoom, zoom. I was hating every one of them. It gets worse. These motorcycles got the idea they would just start driving in between all the cars. The first one went by me, and I was like, I don't like that. Then the second one started to go by me. Guess what I did? Turned a little bit, tried to chip him. The guy in the truck beside me, we were on the same page. He looked at me, gave the thumbs up. We just made our cars into a V. You know what motorcycles did? Go around the other side. They don't care. I hate you. I hate these people. I literally driving home, I couldn't get over. I was like, we made great time. We were stuck for an hour, stuck in traffic. I didn't even think about this till this past week. We get home, go to our match. Friday, I'm still on vacation mode. My wife's off from school. I'm like, let's just go out. She said, you want to go out and sit by the pool? I'm like, yeah. So we go out and we sit in lawn chairs, okay? We sat for about an hour. I'm sitting beside my wife, right beside her, and we're just talking. And the cars, we live close to 52, US 52. Zing, zing, zing. I said this. I said, this is the best hour of my week. Now, did you catch that? I was stuck in traffic and looked at her and said, this is the worst hour of my week. I'm sitting with my wife, cars going by, we're sitting there for an hour, nothing to do, no rush. Then I fast forward 3 days later, I'm sitting in a lunch chair and I look at her and say, this is the best hour of my life. Guys, what changed? Perspective. In one, I thought I have to be moving, I have to be going somewhere. In the other, I just accepted, hey, let's be present in the moment. But nothing really changed other than my perspective. And this is so, so important for some of you here. What if the thing that's keeping you stuck isn't the situation, but the story you've attached to it? Think about that for a second. What if you're kind of stuck mentally, physically, whatever it might be right now, but it's not because of the situation, it's the story you've attached to that exact story. Sometimes I think that's the thing keeping us stuck. And then the last one, this is really important. Number 3, the lame question. Love always meets everyone. This is when we kind of get out of stuck being on, we want pain-free, we don't want anything questionable, right? And this is why this is so good, verse 6. Let's go back to what he said. When Jesus saw him and knew he'd been ill for a long time, he asked him what I think is maybe the rudest question you would ask someone who is paralyzed. He says, do you want to get well? I've been here. I have been literally sitting on this mat for 38 years. And some jerk has the nerve to come by and say, you want to get well? Really? Really? You're going to say this to me right now? Do you want to get well? But here's what's fascinating. Jesus walks up and he says, do you want to get well? This guy's sitting on his mat. You notice what he did? He doesn't say yes or no. Well, you see, and I learned this. See, I've done a lot of counseling over the last 20-some years, and what I've learned, I used to go through and they'd be telling me stuff like, hey, what about this, da-da-da-da-da. I'm getting too old and too impatient, so now I just sat down, had a couple with me. It's been about a few months ago, struggling. And I looked at her. They told their story real quick. I said, do you want this marriage to work? She literally said, well, you don't understand. He's da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, give me 1 second. Looked at him, do you want this marriage to work? And he was like, my biggest problem is, and I said, did you guys catch that? I asked you a simple question. You guys are like, don't go to him to counseling. He sounds like a real jerk. Yeah. He was like, I said, I asked you both, do you want this marriage to work? And neither one of you didn't say yes or no. And they were so like caught into it, they still didn't catch it. Well, you got to understand. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. I said, no. Do you want it to work? See, this is fascinating to me because Jesus asked him a point-blank question. Do you want to get well? Well, you understand, I've been stuck on this mat for 38 years. My life stinks. No one helps me. No one can move me. I need people. And then, it's going to be tough. If I try to get up, it's painful when I try to move. All this stuff's true. But Jesus, I didn't ask you any of that. I said, do you want to get well? There's a comedian and podcaster named Theo Vaughn, and he's the knucklehead. But recently, he's kind of been getting real spiritual, talking. I think he's just kind of figuring out stuff in his head. People have been sharing stuff with me. But just 2 weeks ago, he was on his podcast, and he literally talks about this story. And I want to share, as we kind of get ready to close, his thoughts on this. Now, before we start, let me say this, okay? I don't want any of you in this room watching, you're like, oh, Trent talked about Theo Vaughn at C3. He must be a good Christian comedian. So tonight you're going to sit down with your little family of elementary kids on Netflix and be like, let's watch I bet he's like John Chris. He's a Christian, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. And don't pin that on me, Ricky Bobby, okay? No, don't. I'm not giving you permission to even watch any. You're going to be 1 minute and be like, that man should not even be on that screen. Fair enough. But it's interesting because he's just being honest. Check out what he says.
And then I was looking on this Bible, and there's a story called John 5, and it's about a guy who's at these pools, and some people follow the Bible, some people don't. That's fine. And Jesus is at the pools, and it's in Bethesda, and there's a sick man there, and he's been sick for a long time. And Jesus asks him, "Do you want to be healed?" He asks him, "Do you want to be healed?" And that's a crazy question because, if I get healed, then I'm different. If somebody gets healed, they have a new story. So that's just been something that I've been having to ask myself. It's like, do I want to be healed? Do I really want something different? And sometimes a lot of the answer is no, I don't. I don't know if I'm scared of it. I don't know what I am. I don't know if I don't want to do what it takes to get. I can't even tell what it is. It's hard for me. Some of this stuff's a little bit hard for me to say. I don't even know why. But I think I want a new story. I don't know. I'm starting to just feel something different.
I like that he says, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I've been on my mat so long that it's part of me. Maybe I don't want to let that go. Maybe as much as I claim I want to forgive that person and move on, if I'm honest and Jesus says, do you want to forgive them? Do you want to not live in just straight turmoil and anger and angst? No, you don't, right? That's literally, he asked him a simple question. And maybe for some of us here, like maybe it's scary. Maybe I feel like I'm losing some of my identity. Whatever it is, do I really want to get well? Now this is so awesome. Look what Jesus says in verse 8. Jesus told him, stand up. I want you to pick up your mat. Now Jesus can do this because he's obviously Jesus, we believe here, the Son of God and perfect. He said, pick up your mat and walk. Instantly the man was healed. He rolled up his sleeping mat. Now this is what's interesting to me. If I were Jesus, I would have been like, and leave that. That's the past. We're going to get past the past. We're going to talk about the past and be motivational music playing. I'll be like, yeah. He said, I want you to pick it up, roll it up. Take it with you. You see, what defined this man for 38 years that he thought was his life, Jesus says, no, that's a part of you. But now I want you to carry it as a trophy. What you thought defined you and consumed you, now Jesus says, no, it's going to be the trophy. You're going to be the guy walking around now. They're like, yeah, another guy with 38 years stood by the pool? Yeah. Isn't that the mat he laid on for 38 years? That old nasty, dirty mat? Yeah. He carries it now. He carries it. What you thought was carrying you, Jesus gives us the power to say, now you carry it. Now here's the good news of the gospel today. And I'll go fast with this, but you guys can hear it. I was going to do the woman with the issue of blood today. Because it just, I don't know if this is a great Mother's Day story, but it's a great story. Just so you know, super fast, there's a woman, has a bleeding issue for 12 years, which made her unclean in Jewish culture. And one day she hears the Messiah's coming, and there's an Old Testament verse that says the Messiah, when there'll be healing in his wings, basically means his tassels. So as a guy walked by, if he was the Messiah, the tassels of his robe, if you just touched him, she believed there'd be healing. So there's a big crowd of people, and they're all around, and she kind of sneaks in behind and literally just touches one. And Jesus says, who touched me? Who touched me? All the disciples are like, dude, there's people everywhere. They're bumping into you. It's crazy. And he's like, no, somebody actually really touched me. And what happens is he turns and says, wait. And he calls her out, and he's like, you touched me, didn't you? And she gets nervous. She's like, I'm sorry, I just needed healing, whatever. She gets healed. Here's why I was going to tell that story, because this is the American version of Christianity we love. Here's what you got to do. You got to fight through the crowd. You got to do some stuff. Now, God isn't just going to love you because he loves you. Now, you got to get some stuff in. You got to get it together. Right? And I'm all for getting your stuff together. Don't live in chaos. But what if we keep thinking the story of Jesus is you got to fight through the crowd to touch him, to do something for him to heal you? This story throws all that on its head because it shows me a picture of Jesus fighting through the crowd to touch me, to heal me. This guy didn't even know who Jesus was. And Jesus says, no, I've been thinking about you. See, some of you in this room right now be like, God wants no part. God's like, no, I think about you all the time. I would literally fight through the crowd. I'll step over people just to get to you. Jesus said, I want you to pick up your mat. What if your mat isn't a prison? What if this mat can be your trophy? So what do you do this morning? You learn this, okay? You can sit and say, I'm just waiting on the perfect situation. Lame excuse. No, you understand, Trent. As soon as I get some people, I just don't have the right people in my corner, and get those people in your corner, I'm all for that. But listen to me. Lame excuse. No, Trent, it just seems hard right now. It's just hard. I don't know if I can do it. Lame excuse. Lame excuse. Why? Because Jesus says, I will fight through the crowd. All it takes is one moment. You're waiting for people to stir the water? I created the water. That's who I am. So this morning, before we close, obviously, as you can tell, for the last little bit, there's quite a bit of people here at 9:30 as well. We're in our space. If you're here in the beginning and saw the child dedication, which was awesome, all these young families, we're so thankful for that, and Alicia does such an amazing job. But we did a campaign, so a lot of you I know are new for the first time, just kind of tell you. We had this thing called What's Next, and we did it before Easter. But basically, the whole concept is this. We don't want to replace anything. We just want to expand. We want to expand the ability for people on their mats, stuck in life, with no hope, We want to expand and say, we have a seat for you. We do. And for some of you there, we've got like a third of the seats filled. Some of you are so amazing, so generous. But for some of you like don't even have a clue what I'm talking about right now, you can go check out the hub, c3church.tv/hub. We would love for you to partner with us as we make space and make room for more people stuck on their mat. Because the greatest part of my job, guys, and I know you guys want to go eat lunch. I went too long. The greatest part of my job is I get stories every week that none of you get. And I'm telling you, weekly, we have story after story of people who are stuck on their mat, no purpose, no hope. And they're like, because of what Jesus has done in my life, I now think I have purpose. I now have hope. I get every week. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's all because we decided to make room. We're not trying to replace anything. We, last year, gave over 20% of our total income away to outreach, completely free. So proud of that. We do First Sundays. We want everything at C3. When our name's on it, we say it's free, like the gospel. But the only way that's possible is by the amazing generosity of so many of you. So those of you who stepped in, thank you so much. If you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, check it out. Partner with us, and let's make more room, more hope. So before I pray, starting next week, and I'm going to pray right after this, starting next week, we're starting a brand new series. How many people in their 30s and 40s here remember TRL? Total Request Live, okay? That's what we're doing next. And what we're doing, we're going to have some people request their favorite worship songs over the last 20 years. We got a few surprises for you guys, but we'd love for you to check out the video. I'll pray, and we'll be done.
Total Request Live starts next week at C3, and we want you to help decide the top worship song each week during the last 20 years.
Just so you know, that was not AI. In 1997, I met Carson Daly and said, I'm going to start a church. And about 28 years from now, or 30-something. Okay, let's pray. Father, we do thank you so much for this amazing group of people for being just so good to us this morning. And I pray today as we leave this place that we'd realize, maybe for some of us in here, maybe we struggle, maybe it's a deep-seated depression, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's some anger, some unforgiveness. Maybe it's just, we just have felt stuck for so long, and we just accepted that's our mat, that's our place in life. I pray today that we would hear your voice kind of whisper to us today, but do you want to get well? And God, I know we all have so many excuses, myself included, lame excuses of why I want to stay lame. But when it's all said and done, I realize you're the only one who can bring healing. God, I pray healing today. I pray healing for some people in this room who have struggled for years, who feel like this is the way it has to be. Today, I pray you would whisper in their ear, do you want to get well? You want to get well? You're the only one who can do it. Thank you for stepping over a crowd of people to find just me, to find us, because you love us this much. God, we thank you for all the amazing women in our life. We thank you for the example so many have set. Thank you for those of us who are sad, God, because of the amazing women that they had in their life. And I know it's a tough day, God, but we thank you for all that. You've been so good to us. Today we pray as we walk out these doors, we would be that hope for the people we encounter every day, still stuck on their mat. We ask this in your name, and amen. Guys, have an amazing week. Happy Mother's Day. See you next week.